For those serious about becoming successful, consistently profitable options traders, now is the time to build skills in technical analysis, market analysis, and applied volatility to get those results. We have multiple memberships, starting with our Go membership that teaches rules-based trading and our Pro membership that teaches more subjective trading. For more information, go to lockeinyoursuccess.com/memberships.
There are virtually a limitless number of things that you could potentially focus on. And you are going to get nowhere as a trader if your focus is on too many things at once. Nor will you make progress if you don't focus on the right things. And by the right things, I mean those things that are going to make the most difference in your trading, not those things that are likely to make you feel better or protect your ego. A lot of people come into trading and we have feelings, right? We're all human beings. We all have feelings and we want to protect those feelings. We want to protect our self-image. We want to protect our ego. We naturally want to avoid work. We naturally want to, avoid displeasure. And I talk about immediate displeasure. And we all always want to, go towards immediate pleasure. That is our natural tendency as human beings. There are a lot of things with trading that will protect your ego, that make you feel better, that feel important because of that dynamic. But realize the majority of the things that seem important are not. And focusing on those unimportant things are the things that are going to be damaging to your trading. They're the things that are going to prevent you from being a successful trader. Therefore, we need to intentionally focus on certain areas, and we want to constrain that focus to a maximum of the top 25 of the most important things that we could be doing. I assume we've all heard of the 80-20 rule that applies in a lot of things across business. It applies to learning to trade as well. You want to focus on the 20% of things that are going to make the most difference in your progress and virtually ignore the other 80%. You're going to advance the fastest that way. Now, when we talk about the 80-20 rule, that rule is great for a slightly above average performer. In other words, it'll get you into the above average category. But if you want to be an elite performer, you want to be at the top of the market, which a lot of our traders, we want to be at the top of the market. We want to perform as an elite performer. I would argue the majority of your time should be spent focusing only on the top 5% of effective activities, with a little bit filtering down to the other 15 and virtually nothing on the other 80. So comes the question, where is the best place to focus your energy? Well, the most beneficial place to focus your energy is going to vary based on your goals and your skill level, right? We all have certain goals as a trader, and we're all at a certain skill level. When we're a novice, strategies are actually a good place to start. Okay, we need to understand. I mean, part of trading is understanding the strategy that you're trading. However, when we do that, when we're focusing on our strategies, we need to see the strategy in the proper context. Okay, when we get back to feeling good, the idea of focusing on and finding this magical set of rules that wins all the time, regardless of the context of the market, without having to do any kind of make any kind of subjective decisions, that feels wonderful. It's sort of like the idea of Santa Claus. The idea of Santa Claus feels wonderful. This guy's going to come around and he's going to give me whatever I want just because I've been a good boy. Unfortunately, that's fantasy land. And it does you no good as a trader to live in fantasy land. It doesn't make progress. We need to start looking at strategies as something that we can apply to certain contexts and certain conditions, and something that we should avoid in other conditions. We need to start looking at them like a tool, not as something that's going to make money in any context. And this is the first place where traders go wrong, right? They're looking for a hammer that they can swing regardless of the context and always win, rather than focusing on how and when to use a hammer and whether or not a hammer should be used in any particular time. This fantasy approach in trading is going to be problematic and frustrating. And it's going to, and if you stay in that type of approach, you're going to spin in trading for years, hopping from one style of trading to another, one strategy of trading to another, over and over and over again, running through the same cycle, making money, losing it, making money, losing it. And that's the cycle we want to break. And this is why it happens, right? this type of thing is going to prevent you from making progress as a trader. Let's just turn our focus here to goals a little bit. We start talking about trading goals. What are your trading goals? People will tell you, oh, it's to make money. Okay, when you're trading, you have certain things that you're going to have. You're going to have to invest time. You're going to have to invest effort. You're going to have to put up with a certain amount of stress and urgency. And hopefully for doing that, you're going to have a return that's positive. You want to know what your time investment goals are. There's at least two types of time investment goals. You have the time it takes in which to learn the strategy, which, by the way, or strategy or process or whatever you're doing, which, by the way, is an ongoing investment. I don't know everything about the market. The market's always changing. I'm always learning about the market. I'm always increasing my learning, increasing my understanding of price movement and what this means and what that means. I'm always doing that. It's just a constant process. And then, of course, you have the maintenance time of the type of trading you're doing. Some trading takes a lot of maintenance time. Some trading takes a very little bit of maintenance time. And one of the reasons you want to think about that is something like this. You know, if my goal, my long-term goal is to retire and be on the beach or whatever, or basically relax, then I do not want to spend and invest all my time learning how to trade and, you know, take years of learning how to trade sometimes and finally becoming profitable in the type of strategy that's going to require that I sit in front of the computer all day and, you know, not be able to be out of reach of the internet for more than 10 minutes. That doesn't make any sense, right? You're just setting yourself up to learn something that when you finally learn it, you're not going to want to do it. Okay. And that's because a lot of times people will say, well, my goal is to make money at any cost. Well, your goal to make money at any cost just put you in a situation where you're still not happy. That type of thing doesn't work. You want to think about, you know, how much maintenance time and how much effort do I want to expend to maintain my profitability in the marketplace? And of course, then you have your learning effort and your as well to look at. So, you know, just make sure those are in line with what you ultimately want. Also, we have our urgency and stress goals. How urgent is it that you're watching the position? Is it something you have to look at every minute? Is it something you have to look at every, you know, hour or whatever? Or can I look at something once a month, right? We have trading strategies to look at once a month. But those are the types of things that you want to do, because again, you don't want to overwhelm and overload yourself if you're, depending on what your goals are. I mean, if you're a type of person who wants to be a day trader, fine, and you want constant urgency and constant stress, then that's wonderful. If you're not that type of person, then you don't want to learn to trade that way. And then we have our return goals. And there's different types of return goals. If everybody says they want to make money, but how much money do you want to make? We have the magnitude of return. We have the consistency return. We have the consistency of return time frame. So how often do you need to make money? In other words, how often do you have to win? Do you have to win every trade? Within that trade, do you have to win every day? Within that day, do you have to be winning every minute? Do you have to be winning every second? Sometimes I almost think that, right? Somebody will be in a trading strategy that has a, you know, I don't know, a $5,000 profit target and max loss, and they'll be up $3,000 and they'd be like, oh my goodness, I have to protect these profits. And I'm like, and they say, well, if I draw down to like $2,999 and I'm out or whatever, right? So, or if they draw down like $5, it's a big issue. And, you know, if you're looking for consistency of return and that type of granulation, you're not going to make money because you're always going to be on the protective side of things. You need to give your trades room to breathe. When we enter the trades, we're giving them, you know, a certain amount of room, right? So what's the principle of entering a trade? Well, the principle of entering a trade is I'm going to enter a trade and I'm going to risk a certain amount of money in order to have the possibility of making a certain amount of money. If I put my stop too tight, I'm going to lose the trade because I'm going to get stopped out before the trade has the potential to make money. Well, that dynamic's happening every day during the trade. Every day you're in that trade, that dynamic's going on. And you need to be able to allow that dynamic to happen. Otherwise, you're going to be forcing yourself out of trades at very small profit levels, which is going to be a problem for you in your long-term profitability, because you still have that large amount of risk on the table when you first enter the trade. Right? So over time, things like that don't work. So granularity of consistency is extremely important.